first you're teaching people to make a living, get continuous upskilling support, and actually travel around the world in like a geography agnostic manner. So like you have pieces of land across the world and it all ties back to that one virtual city. So it's still very similar to the network state concept. So like network you
startup society.
Startup society, which will evolve into like a network.
Damn cool. Wow.
It was born out of that concept for sure.
So cool. Balaji is definitely going to watch this. He's going to subscribe to this channel now.
We hope you're listening to this.
It's a little bit...
No, the angle is okay. Like, firstly, cheers to the Bankless community.
We didn't even
That's where we start.
We didn't even start the podcast, and this is how it's like.
Yeah. Because, like, I think we vibe. Like, one of the first few DAOs that I was a part of also. Met a lot of people.
Give it a second. I'm going to start an introduction.
Okay, go for it.
Do an introduction. Hey everyone, what is up? I'm Salman and welcome to Salman Needs a Job. I'm here in Bangalore at Four Seasons Hotel at a conference called Decrypt by AWS and Intel, I think. And here I've met Kriti, who is a fellow contributor in Bankless DAO and a fellow Dao Punk. How awesome. So very excited about this conversation. We're just getting the conversation started, but I just found out that she has a Dao Punk and everything, and she's just dropping some mutual contact name. It was very fun.
Cryptobushi, we love you. I hold a Dao Punk because of you, and glad to hear that Salman also received his first Dao Punk recently. Another Dao Punk that worked with us was Meena. Like a lot of fun people like that I got to know from Bankless as well. I used to contribute back last year. I think around the same time last year I was a part of Bankless as well, but like not an avid contributor anymore, but would always love for the community and like kudos to everything that people are doing. I met a lot of people like Sasho, I don't know, from Education Guild. Ernest of Gaia like knows about Partnr as a project as well. Who else?
Actually, I just want to remind you that I didn't ask any question. But that's okay.
Yeah. No, vibes. It's just like love for the community and like showing...
Love Bankless, and this is totally a scene over here. And
Absolutely.
Okay, tell me, like, let's start with your involvement in Bankless. Okay, how was Bankless your first foray into Web3?
Yeah, one of my first few DAOs that I was a part of for sure. Again, Partnr, the current venture that I'm into was back then also in my head, but more as an upskilling sort of a thing.
Kriti is working on something called Partnr, which we are going to talk about. But let's talk about your journey into Web3 and how you wanted to Bankless.
So for me, it was two communities. One was 1729 was my entry point into like Web3. Actually, that was the basic community. And then
Balaji's?
Yes, Balaji's 1729. And also Bankless, like parallelly, because I love the podcasts, and like Bankless has been part of daily life almost for a while now, and that's how I joined the DAO. And I like this fun part where you do like small things and then people like keep sending you bank tokens. So that was exciting for me. So yeah, I was a part of the Education Guild for a while and sort of contributing there. That was about but met a lot of fun people at Bankless for sure.
Before that, like, what about 1729? What did you do with 1729? What I understand is they used to have like this daily bounties kind of a thing where...
Yeah, so that was earn.com and so 1729 was like this website that was there, yes. Like where this guy used to newsletter, a newsletter that pays. Yeah, that's what it was. So like there's this Discord community that formed out of the newsletter. This guy called Chance had created it, so we were a part of that. Then a couple of us so I joined like as the first 10 people I think there, and then a couple of us from there were pulled into Balaji's private group where he was like doing a lecture series before his book came out. So like it is a less than 500 people community, so I got to be a part of it from like November last year till...
Are you connected to Balaji?
Not directly, but like on Discord we've spoken.
I would love for him to check out some of my work actually.
I wish I could chill.
I am actually a student of his infamous course Startup Engineering from Coursera in 2013.
Balaji, I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan obviously. Like everybody else.
So I got inspired to get into the space because of his work. So I read his Network Union article, and that's when I said I want to do so I've been wanting to do some sort of like a cloud city in my head, like right from where I was studying back in my engineering days. And then this guy has like a very templated structure to making it happen, and it was a no-brainer to actually quit my consulting job at PwC and then jump here.
By the way, she was from PwC.
Right.
Okay, I feel. Okay, so.
Slightly.
Okay.
I think it's
So
okay.
okay. So yeah, Balaji is something else I want to mention. I'm sorry. Let's move on from that. Okay, Bankless. So you joined Bankless when? You want to tell your username? Discord.
Kriti. I think people on Discord, Kriti, they related to like me.
So
Kriti.
yeah, you joined when, and you said you started with the Education Guild. So just talk about that experience.
So like I think I don't remember the exact timeline. I think June, July last year. Bankless was very new at that point. They just finished the first quarter of first 3 months, or I think I joined in the second month or third month off when the whole thing was starting off. So very early, yeah. I was one of like the very early people, and I also met the very early people like who've been a part of Bankless for a long time. I'm not able to recollect specific handle names, but I've spoken to a lot of like the people, and for me it was it's a phase when even Bankless was figuring out how to go about the whole thing. So being a part of that chaos in a way and like figuring out things was fun.
What was the Discord looking like? Right now it's got like 280 channels or something like that.
Now it's a lot. Now it feels overwhelming even for me. Back then it was mostly like guilds, different guilds. Okay, now I remember my entry point. So this person called Brian PTs, who's also like BPTs, yeah, BPTs. Yes. So he was my induction point into like Bankless.
Me too.
Again, love for BPTs. So he was, yeah, he is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, so he's the one who explained Bankless to me and said, see, there are multiple guilds within, and each guild is like, has a certain set of people with, skills. And then it was back then, I don't think there were too many guilds, like 8 to 10 DAO relationships and all of that was just coming up. It wasn't obviously as structured as where it is right now, but it was fun to be figuring things out. So he was my entry point. Now that I remember a half an hour call that was dedicated into like explaining, what are guilds to me back then, and also he was one of those first few people that I learned a lot from about Web3 also in general. So, yeah.
And what were your activities like as you began to get involved? What were you doing and all that within Bankless DAO?
Yeah, so like to be honest, I'm a little guilty of not contributing too much, but I was mostly like inducting new people inside the ecosystem and like trying to do like educational material, seeing if there was a collab with Bankless Academy as well, scouting through content. Being a part of, that's more or less like most of what I did, to be honest. And then I was focusing on this project.
What did you feel your learning experience was within Bankless? Was it helpful for your journey in the space?
Absolutely. So I love the fact that, and I still love the fact that Bankless is such a wholehearted, open, like warm community of people. Anybody who is there in the space, it's very easy for them to like welcome you into it. It's very easy to feel belonged in the community, which is like the biggest highlight of the Bankless experience for me. And creating that for fellow Web3 people is my biggest takeaway from Bankless as well. Because,
I want to reflect on some of the things that you're saying, but then I feel like you're saying exactly what I have in mind. It's such a welcoming community, exactly. And that is exactly why I end up sticking around.
You can figure it out, and it's about like figuring it out together, because all of us know that we haven't figured the template yet. There's so much to figure out.
Everybody is learning together, kind of, and just the whole idea behind guilds is to develop talent, and to activate projects.
Absolutely. And there's so much structure that's been added, to Bankless itself. So many projects that are going on. I'm not able to recollect the exact names, but I know an analytics thing was going on, and I love the definitions that Bankless always had put in. So even what is a DAO kind of a definition. Initially, I didn't find a good enough definition to talk to people about. Then at one point, there's this really long, definition of what a DAO is that I ended up picking from the Bankless dictionary and then sort of using it also.
This is a quick one. It's very dark actually. See, this is so much better.
Cool, we'll shift this side. Oh, right, it's actually bright and nice.
I wish.
It's okay. No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this looks like...
Look at this. Man, this
we're
is how it
opposite
should
the
have been.
light. Yeah, this is opposite the
Yeah,
light.
let's continue.
Great.
Yeah, tell us your Dao Punks story.
Dao Punks story. So I think Crypto Bushi was Dao Punks as a project came out of Bankless, and this was the time when Bankless was even publishing Dao Punks. So before that, Dao Punks did not exist. So literally saw the community growing from like a few hundred to a few thousands, and then like becoming a lot more bigger. So initially, Crypto Bushi has like been an amazing support system in a way. Because right from like monetization models to whatnot, we've spoken about a lot of these things. And for me, the highlights in terms of conversations with Bushi is more of, what does like an American market look like? What the kind of people there? And right from like where he lives to, the geography differences, the differences in terms of how people think. So these are things that I actually grasped a lot from him in terms of, which is not very conventional when you think about like, an artist, an NFT artist that you talk to. So for me, I think Bushi has been more like a friend in a sense, who's helped me get into this space and do more.
Wow, that's amazing. So where were these communications happening? On the Bankless DAO channels?
So I did meet Bushi through like Bankless, but mostly Discord communications, to be honest. And yeah, that's how I got my first Dao Punk. So when like the community was quite nascent and excuse me, and Bushi at a point was actually giving away Dao Punks to people who also couldn't afford it. So yeah, I'm one of those one of those people. So yeah, the first sales, the second sales. So we've sort of like seen that phase of Dao Punks.
Love to hear that. Actually, very recently I got it. Crypto Bushi was on the Crypto Sapiens podcast, and he spoke about how in Web3 for the first time now, thanks to Web3, one is able to you don't need to be miserable, have a miserable job. You are able to start from scratch and do something completely different.
Yeah, like corporate. This is
rats.
Corporate like to like Dao Punk was like a thing that we were hashtagging everywhere at this point of time. Massive influence from Dao Punks to be doing.
So when I heard that podcast, I could relate so hard to the things he was saying that immediately I went. Even I have wanted to get one, but it was always like pretty like expensive. I went to OpenSea and I saw that I think I can get this, and I got it. I'm like, wow! And less than a week later, I'm finding a fellow Dao Punk in Bangalore.
Yeah, which is amazing, right? Because Dao Punk's always been like close to my heart, and Bushi was also on one of our first few speaker series that we did at Partnr also. Let's
talk about Partnr. Like, explain to us like what is that you're doing right now? What is this project called Partnr? What it is about?
So I mean, to put it in simple terms, it's like a decentralized Upwork with like a co-living element. So people either contribute to the project, which is like a Bankless, or like upskill through Partnr. So they get Partnr tokens, and they use that to access opportunities starting from like $5 bounties all the way to consulting projects, and to access like co-living, co-working space.
Can you spell Partnr?
Partnr. So like partner with no E. No. .network.
So with a cool living element, that's like completely new. Never heard of anything like that before. What's that about?
So like, let's say you move around to different events. There are events happening in Singapore, Dubai, and all of these places. And a lot of Web3 crowd wants to move around. So it's like to the freelancing lifestyle, to like, see, we want to like lead a more self-sovereign lifestyle. So to add a little kick to that and learn from the world, we want to facilitate the whole digital nomadic sort of an element to the whole to the Web3 lifestyle.
How is this bounty and Upwork kind of thing connected here? Where does that fit into the picture?
So, I mean, again, look at it as a person who wants to live like an independent lifestyle. I don't want to be tied to one company. I want to work with multiple DAOs, which is where not a lot of people understand the DAO lingo today. So we're saying that, we're like an Upwork where we help you find opportunities, which can either be like DAO opportunities or like, like startup-y opportunities or like corporate opportunities. It's a mixture of all of it now. But it's like that transition from like a corporate rat race to like a DAO punk, to be honest. Eventually we do see DAOs being like...
Sounds like an Airbnb with work to do.
Which is fair, but not exactly. Yeah, which is a fair.
It's very interesting to begin with. I want to ask how I can like fit into this picture, but before that, do you know of Zoo World? The NFT project by the team behind Zostel, which is like a backpacker network from India. So they have an NFT project called Zoo World, which are like each of these NFTs are a different, like it's meant to be for like digital nomads or something like that.
Okay,
but it is all the traits are like different localities, different places, and it's around travel. It's kind of a travel NFT thing, which I hold one. But you guys should check it out actually.
Yeah, definitely, and love to collaborate with them as
and
well.
They're all over the country.
Awesome.
So Hostel, it's a backpack. It's an amazing backpack.
Yeah, we'd love to collaborate with them and see if, again, the whole point of it is, as a freelance, freelancing in the Asian ecosystem is looked down upon. So we want to create that. The intent for doing Partnr was also come up with like a community where you're with high quality people and you're also moving around and having fun while you're working. So that's the whole intent behind it. Would love to collaborate with.
We'll connect you. So. Where is the project at right now? What stage is this project at?
We've been doing manual operations for quite some time, for close to 10 months already. So we've been doing well, which is also why we realized it's best to turn it into a product. The alpha of the prototype is going to be out in a week's time. So after that, people can start using using the tech to see how it is and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where we are at right now.
So it is for, would you say it is for Web3 contributors? Who is it for? Or does it also apply for people who are not into Web3?
Right now we're keeping it very blockchain and Web3 oriented. We don't want to be diversifying at this point of time, also because we're sticking to the core of like a Web3 lifestyle. People within the community, so we believe in a certain kind of a world, which is where people from the community also believe in a certain kind of a promise. Like the reason you hold a Dao Punk and I hold one is because we believe in that future. So similarly, the community is also catering to a certain kind of people, like-minded people. That's also where, yes, Web3 contributors, it makes a lot of sense too.
What do you do over there? Are you the founder or something?
Yeah. So I'm the founder.
Awesome. Now, how does someone like myself, who is like a DAO contributor, how do we I use this platform?
I think best.
How do you imagine using this platform? I think it's not live yet, so.
Yeah. So from a DAO contribution point of view, you can possibly route things through the platform. So what we do is, it's an on-chain skill graph that we help the talent who's a part of our ecosystem build. So let's say you do a course through the platform that is aggregating against your skill data points. Let's say you're working with 3 different DAOs and different projects. The skills there are going to get curated against your skill graph. Similarly, you're moving around to different parts of the world. So that again gets quantified into your skill graph. So that this thing of we used to call it an on-chain resume, but right now calling it an on-chain skill graph. So that's what you'll be having and holding and sort of owning as a talent on the platform. So yeah, that's pretty much how we sort of see you utilizing, and so it's in a way it's for you to stand out. Yeah, so in a way it's for the talent who's a part of the platform to stand out from the rest of the crowd, saying, hey, listen, I'm doing 10 things and I don't have to be apologetic about any of them. I can do all 10 and here my shilling factor, right? Because if you put it up on LinkedIn or a different place, there are people who do side hustle but they don't really talk about it elsewhere, right? So this is adding also a pseudonymity aspect to saying, I am this and I represent myself as moving forward. This is not a realistic thing at this point, but it's saying if I'm good at marketing, I portray myself as a marketing avatar to the people I want to collaborate with and stuff like that.
It is not moving forward. It is how it is right now in Bankless DAO and DAOs in general. So
this is just like owning the line of everything that you do and having like a credible source to say that, hey, listen, this is what I've done and I'm doing. That's pretty
Wildly interesting project. I did not expect it to be so interesting as when you initially mentioned.
It's a lot.
Crazy. This is crazy. Where's this out of?
Also like co-live through us. That'll be fun because we're tying up with some places like WeWork and others. So.
Can I bring my wife and child?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so where is this based out of the company? Or?
It's primarily based out of Bangalore, yes, but we're looking to like expand more. In terms of the travel element, of course, we support other countries as well. In terms of opportunities as well, like global always. DAOs, we haven't listed much of them as yet, but Colony is one other interesting DAO that we've been working with.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, just like in general, love for the Web3 people, and also like very happy to find like a fellow Bankless and a DAO Punk person. Because my first points of entering into like Web3 has been DAO Punk as well as Bankless, so it's
very happy to meet you as well.
Likewise. And more on 1729 as well. So these are, like very close to heart, these projects are. And I think we also saw like City DAO going almost from zero to like, like taking off. This was, I think, last year around June, July, or like after that is where a lot of these projects started and also took off.
So how does this connect to the network state? Are you familiar with the network state, and what do you feel the synergies there or alignment?
So to be honest, Partnr is like a idea that came out of the network state concept, was born out of it, to be honest. And the reason that we added like a co-live element is to say that it's still a virtual economy that we're creating. So look at it as like a virtual city of sorts. First, you're teaching people to make a living, get continuous upskilling support, and actually travel around the world in like a geography agnostic manner. So like you have pieces of land across the world and it all ties back to that one virtual city. So it's still very similar to the network state concept. So like network
startup society.
Startup society, which will evolve into like a network.
Damn cool.
So,
wow.
It was born out of that concept for sure.
So cool. Balaji is definitely going to watch this. He's going to subscribe to this channel now.
We hope you're listening to this.
That is so cool. Are you listed on the network state dashboard? They have like a networkstate.com/dashboard or something like that.
The product hasn't been out also, right? So like after the product is out, shilling it to Balaji soon.
Where can people follow you and all that?
So Partnr 3 on Twitter. We haven't been too active, but yes, we're going all out now, given that the product will be out soon. PARTNR3. So that's the handle on Twitter. And I'm Kriti, KRITI on Discord, KRITI_RAVI97 on Twitter. That's a little tough to remember, but I will share the details with you.
I'll drop it in the description here. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe to Salman Needs a Job. And hey, what a story. What a story. Great meeting you.
Likewise. Loved meeting you as well.
See ya.
Wow, this was fun.
I'm very happy we did this.